What do you think? It's a little question, but one I was asked a lot when I was back in Liverpool last week, and it's one I expect to hear a lot more before the season ends. Liverpool might be top of the Premier League, but with 10 games to go, none of their fans are getting carried away with talk of the title. Don't kid yourself, they are saying, "This is our year," or organising parties in anticipation. By asking, "What do you think?" people are seeking some kind of reassurance.It is one of the biggest regrets of my career, that the Liverpool team I played in never made a proper title challenge. The 3 years I spent at Anfield were brilliant, and I can imagine what it would have been like had we been in with a chance. The city, well, half of it would have been insane. When I left, the title drought had been 18 years. The fact it is now 29 has only heightened emotions. The prize they want most might be shimmering in the distance, but nobody will get carried away. Nobody wants to get burned again. You can see the impact it is having on different generations of supporters. My wife Abbey's dad, Geoff, grew up watching Liverpool win league titles every year and conquer Europe. He believes he supports the best team that have ever played the game, and he's desperate for it to happen again. However, her younger brother, John, has never seen them finish first. He knows about the glory days, of course, and has heard his dad's stories, but he wants his own memories to savour. He's just desperate for Liverpool to win the title, full stop. With 10 games to go, I have to be honest, regardless of my affinities, and say it is still 50-50. Manchester City are fabulous, and they will exploit the slightest slip-up. They will watch Sunday's Merseyside derby and see the potential for Liverpool to take a false step. Everton have had a difficult season, but I can imagine how good Goodison will be. I loved playing there for Liverpool and scored in my first game against them in 2005. We won 3-1, and I remember hearing plenty of colourful phrases coming my way when I celebrated. What a brilliant night that was. Not so good was the game there the following season. We lost 3-0. Pepe Reina dropped a ball onto Johnson's head for the final goal, and we could hear the Everton players celebrating through the paper-thin dressing room walls. That was absolutely awful. That said, Goodison is a great place for football. The stands tower steeply over the pitch, and, as everything is so tight, it can feel like you are in a cage. The only way you will get out with what you want is by winning the fight. It is a stadium with aggression, a lot of aggression! If Liverpool manage to win the fight, they will have cleared the biggest hurdle remaining in their way. I've studied the run-ins of both clubs, and Liverpool's looks more favourable than City's, especially when you get to the middle of April. To set themselves up for that, though, they need to take care of the Merseyside derby. Win this battle, and they really can start to believe. Tough start for natural-born manager Parker. Some players take you by surprise when they become managers. Fulham's Scott Parker, however, was always destined to become one. I played against him at schoolboy level, and ended up playing with him for England. He was a star to us as kids, because he had been in a McDonald's advert, but he turned into a leader. This has been a difficult season for everyone at Craven Cottage. He won't have enjoyed the circumstances of how he has been placed in temporary charge, but Scotty will be determined to ensure his role becomes permanent. He has an affinity with Fulham, and will do all he can to help them. I can see parallels with Darren Moore at West Brom last season, and if he can steady the ship, so much the better. Nobody should be expecting miracles, given that Fulham have the worst defensive record in the league. There were concerns that some of my generation would be lost to the TV studio, but after Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard and Sol Campbell, Scott is the latest to show how hard it is to walk away from football. Petulant keeper owes Chelsea a big finale. The most staggering example of ill-discipline I saw during my career came during a pre-season friendly. An old teammate, whose identity I will protect, walked off midway through the second half after taking exception to another colleague shouting at him. Nobody could believe what had happened, but, sadly, it wasn't a one-off. This same individual did the same thing in a behind-closed-doors game a few weeks later. Without any fans or cameras around, though, nothing happened. I thought about that last Sunday, when I saw Chelsea goalkeeper Arrizabalaga refuse to be replaced in the closing stages of the Carabao Cup final. It has been the talking point of the week, and there is no other way to say it. What he did was totally unprofessional. You can argue he showed desire, unlike the player I mentioned, but he crossed a line. I wrote last week about the pressure Maurizio Sarri is under, and the way keeper reacted did not help his manager in the slightest. He had to be dropped for the game with Tottenham and he had to be fined. Willy Caballero did well when replacing keeper in the 2-0 win over Tottenham, but it remains to be seen how long he will stay in goal. Keeper's £72 million transfer fee means he will be back in the starting lineup sooner rather than later. I'm glad he has apologised to Sarri. The Carabao Cup final is a big occasion and he made a huge mistake. The best way to repay Sarri would be with performances that help Chelsea finish in the top 4. My week WHO's caught my eye. Sean Longstaff. There has been a lot of talk about the midfielder, 21, and I saw firsthand how good he is when Newcastle beat us on Tuesday. He took his goal very well and showed a great range of passing. He's got a big future. Next up for me. My focus is on Burnley's game against Palace on Saturday afternoon. Another 3 points on the back of an excellent performance against Tottenham would do us the world of good. What I'm listening to? I see Sandara Kama have a new album out, Alphila's Alphabet. I've seen these a few times and look forward to hearing the new stuff. What I've been up to. It's been busy this week with plenty of games, but that hasn't stopped me informing Abbey there are now 2 models in our household, after I became a Ted Baker ambassador. It's good to know I can pursue a career in modelling after football, if I wish.